This is the Spotlight, and we're joined by Rsonist of the Heatmakerz. What's up?
Yes.
Thank you for making some time to sit
problem.
with us.
Anytime.
How's your day today?
Good. Just making music.
Busy.
Yeah. Trying to stay busy.
Trying to stay busy.
Yeah.
So we're here, like Times Square, just a few blocks away. How did you land this spot right here? I mean, this is like the melting pot.
By the grace of God, man. This was the first. Like I was telling you, we were speaking off camera before, but this is the first spot that I saw. You know what I'm saying? And I seen other spots after, but this spot was just everything that I really wanted as far as like the feel, and because like if I have a studio, I usually spend like 80% of my time is spent in my studio. You know what I'm saying? From past experience, so I needed some place that felt like home. You know what I mean? I could watch TV if I want to, get something to eat if it's close. You know what I'm saying? Make music and just kind of not really be, you know what I'm saying, restricted by any schedule or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I needed a spot like that, and this was kind of, you know, transportation was close, parking garage right next door. Right. The area is beautiful.
How many hours a day do you spend here, typically? How many days a week?
7 days a week.
7 days.
If I'm not, you know, if I don't have to go out of town, or if I'm not, you know, caught up with something else, but 7 days a week.
Come in.
7 days a week, yeah. Come in.
What time do you typically come in?
1 o'clock.
Okay.
12, 1 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? 12, 1 o'clock, and I'll probably stay till about midnight, 1 o'clock, so 12 hours.
So you get it done, or what?
Yeah, like sometimes it's later than that, sometimes it's earlier, but for the most part, like 12 hours. Certain days I'll leave early, you know what I'm saying? Right. But I try to at least spend minimum 8 hours, and you know what I'm saying, every day making music. As
far as like sessions, do you book regularly, weekly, or just on some?
Yeah, like mainly people who are like regulars, I would say, because for the most part, like we have 2 rooms, so one room consistently stays busy with people that book time, which is the B room.
Okay.
And this is the A room that we're in right now. And the A room is really like where we do a lot of our work. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Where I do a lot of my work. Let me put it like that.
Well, tell us some of the artists you've been blessed with to work with.
Let me start from the beginning.
Let's start from the beginning.
Some people I'm a name. I didn't do work on their album, but I've done records with them on my music. You know what I'm saying? Like, but albums I've been a part of, obviously, you know, Dipset, obviously, any Dipset project we pretty much had a hand in. Lil Wayne, Beyonce, Fat Joe, Remy Ma, French Montana. I'm just thinking, anybody you could really think of, man. I run out of names, but Fred the Godson, Joel Ortiz, Mano. The list goes on. You know what I'm saying? The list goes on.
Etc. Right?
P&B Rock. You know what I'm saying? Name some of the new dudes. P&B Rock. Right. Yeah. So yeah, shit like that.
How did you get started in producing? What was it about making beats that captivated you?
To be honest with you, it was really never anything about making beats. It was more so like I just love music. I used to DJ before. You know what I'm saying? And making beats, I guess, for DJs, like it's almost like the natural progression for some DJs, because I started DJing young when I was like 16. Mm-hmm. So by the time I got to 20, 21, when I started producing, it was almost like I was supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying?
It just came naturally.
Right. And like I, you know, I don't know if a lot of people don't know the story, but I started producing because I got kicked out of college. You know what I'm saying? I used to go to Howard University. I got kicked out of college. Well, I didn't really
Why do people always get kicked out?
Let me not put it like that. I didn't really get kicked out, but I couldn't stay.
They asked you not to come back.
They didn't ask me not to come back, but if I came back, I wouldn't have been able to really function the way I functioned because I had a situation where, you know, there was some police and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So I left, came back to New York, and I had my daughter was on the way at the time. Okay. And I didn't really know what I was gonna do, what my next step was. So my homeboy, who was my ex-partner at the time, Thriller, he had just bought an MPC and he didn't know what to, you know, he went out of town, matter of fact, and I asked him if I could hold it. I learned how to make beats in like 2 days. You know, like I made 2 beats that probably sounded like trash if you listen to it now. But anyway, I make those 2 beats. I end up at a dude's house by the name of Todd Terry. I play him. He wanted some beats for his artists. He's I don't know if anybody knows Todd Terry. He's a house producer, like a famous house producer. He's done like a lot of shit that if you listen to house, you know. They call him like the godfather of house music, right? Right. So I end up at his house. He had an artist he wanted beats for at the time. I only had those 2 beats. I play it for him. He goes, yo, I like both of them. He said, how much you want for both of them? So at the time, I don't know what producers guess. I just throw out a stupid number. I'm like, yo, give me a G for each beat.
Right.
And he looks at me for a minute. He's like, all right, cool. Goes in the back room, gets $2,000 out of safe, gives it to me. And I'm like, he's like, yo, I need some more beats. What's up? I said, yo, I don't got no equipment. I borrowed my man's equipment, da-da-da-da. So he's like, where you live at? I said, I live in the Bronx. Give him my address and shit. And then like about 3 days later, he sends me like $20,000 worth of equipment to my crib. And that's how I got my whole shit rocking, was because of him. And I asked him when I hit him, I said, what do you want? He was like, yo, you just owe me 2 free beats whenever you get popping. And the crazy part is his son records in my studio to this day.
For free. I mean, it is what it is, right? Wow, what a story. So you recently did a track on Fat Joe's Plata o Plomo.
Yeah.
One?
Yeah, one. He recorded the whole album here, but we did one.
He did the whole album here in the studio?
Right, recorded it.
Wow, he recorded it, right?
Yeah.
Which track did you produce for him?
He did a track called Too Quick.
Too Quick.
Yeah.
You knew that track was going to be for him?
No. The way the track ended up with him was kind of bugged out. Like, it was another artist in here by the name of my man Lights Cameras. He's from Philly. He's a new artist out of Philly. He's dope. So he's in here, and we're playing him music at the time. So right before he leaves, Fat Joe has a session coming in. So Fat Joe comes in while he's sitting here, and the last beat I play him, he starts to hum a hook to. So Joe's like, yo, what's that? Yo, record that. So he records the hook. Joe ends up buying the track. Homeboy, he takes the hook that Homeboy does, and his man Kingston re-sang it, but my man Lights originally wrote that hook. You know what I'm saying? So everything just worked out.
Wow. So the artist you played it for, he recorded the hook.
Right. And that's the hook that ended up on there. Not his voice, but he wrote that hook. Right.
That's still a good hook.
Yeah,
right
that's dope.
there.
That's dope.
How did you guys decide that he was going to do an album here, like record his whole album here?
He really didn't. It was like, I've had a relationship with Joe for, not like a relationship where we talk on an everyday basis, but I've known Joe since, like, I've done a record for Joe in 2000, and I think it was 2003 I did it, my first record with Joe. And, like, so every time we see each other, it's always love. So when I had this studio, he happened to just start working on his album. His manager at the time was this dude by the name of Ellis Pacheco, and Ellis was working with us already. So when him and Joe got together, he brought Joe up here, and it was just a good fit. And we just did one record, and it turned into the album.
Wow. I read somewhere that you also played some tracks for Big Pun, the late great Big Pun.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
He was the first artist I ever played tracks for, was Big Pun.
Wow.
And we played him. It's a record that Cannabis ended up buying at the time. It was if you listen to Cannabis, it's one of his last albums on Universal, called 2000 BC. And the intro on that album, which was, I think that the intro was called The Sequel. No matter of fact, the album was called The Sequel, and that song was called The Sequel. So he no matter of fact, the album was called 2000 BC. So he ended up buying that track, but that's the track that Pun and Joe was interested in. Was that track too? You know what I'm saying? But that was the first set of people that ever really played tracks for that was in the industry. Like, obviously before the Todd Terry, but
right.
For a label was Pun and Joe.
Wow.
And that's what really motivated me to keep making music, was the fact that Pun, like, Joe gave me advice, like, yo, listen, this is what producers make. And he told me a number, and I'm like, I'm with it.
I'm gonna do this.
I'm all the way with it. You know what I'm saying? So
let's switch gears. Let's talk about the current state of hip hop, right? For many years, people talk about hip hop is dead. Right. Nobody's making no good music. What do you think about the music today that's being played today? I think
it's like anything else. Like, you have to learn I don't want to say to adapt, but your taste buds have to change a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like you've been eating chicken for years. Now it's time to eat something else. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not mad at the music. Don't get me wrong. I think some of the music is poorly executed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of artists are getting crowned prematurely. Like, a lot, and I'm not
the greatest.
Yeah, not to say they're not good. I just mean a lot of artists are getting the stamp of he's the next one, or he's this, or he gets this amount per show. And it's almost like I come from an era where you had to earn that type of label. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to sound like one of these old school dudes like, yo, I don't mean it like that. I mean it like, I think artists should have to go through a certain level of, you know what I mean? It's almost like a certain level of combat before you get the medal.
That
you know what I'm saying?
Title.
Right, before you get that
like a wrestler, heart. Right? A wrestler has to fight the
right, like a boxer. He got any other sport. Think about any other sport. Right. To get to the NBA, right? There's only a certain amount of slots to be in the NBA. Well, there's 400 and something people in the NBA, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But there's millions of people that want that spot. Now, the people that can't get the NBA, yeah, they're good in the D League and they're good in overseas and shit like that. That's cool. Hip hop doesn't have that. That's the problem. Everybody's in. With no tryout, no nothing. It's just like
one hit. And
not even that. You can have one scheme to get your record to pop virally, and you hit. It has nothing to do with talent. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with how hard you work. You just, and I'm not blaming anybody for that, because at the end of the day, if you can figure something out other people can't, that's cool. But there are truly talented people that will never see the light of day because of those people.
Because of the rivals.
Right. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, the truth is, somewhere in America, there's somebody that's truly talented that would probably be the biggest star we've ever seen, but they'll never get that chance because they either don't have the money, don't have the connections, so they're just there. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is at this point. You just kind of got to like what you have to choose from. Pick something. You know,
either stick with your talent or find that loophole that a lot of artists are finding, which is going viral.
Right, but I'm a strong believer that if you work hard and you truly try to find new ways to get yourself out there as an artist, you will break. Right. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have the money and you don't have the connections, it will take longer, but you will break. But a lot of people, you can't convince them of that if they've never seen any signs of hope. You know what I'm saying?
No progression.
Right. Like, there's somebody probably in middle America right now, some girl that could probably sing her ass off on some Beyonce shit, and nobody won't hear her because she doesn't know who to talk to, even though you have the internet and shit like that now. The internet is so, you know what I mean? So
congested.
Yes, it's so concentrated with all the bullshit that it's like, even if something good is out there, it got to make its way through thousands of pieces of bullshit before it gets to the surface, which is the sad part.
We talked about this the last time. Technology, how does it affect what is going on with the music industry? With you as a producer, like, how is technology affecting the culture?
Before, I used to feel different. I don't want to say I felt different about it. I was right about it before, but we're here now. Meaning, like, when people used to ask me, I told them, I said, the musician has to catch up with the technology. Meaning, like, record labels make their money now through, like, iTunes and things of that nature, whatever, Google Play, whatever the case is, and streaming and whatever. Right. Before, the labels didn't know how to make that money off of the computer. So it was kind of like a period where it was a stalemate, and everybody was just standing there like, all right, cool, we know how to sell records, but how do we sell it through the computer without getting it bootlegged and this and that?
Make some money off of it.
Right. So now they figured that out. So I don't think, if anything, I think right now technology helps me as the producer, because now you can get music to people faster. Mm. You know what I'm saying? If you do have a name, you can kind of keep your name alive by doing certain things that people can see instantly or see in real time, whatever it is, so it helps now. But it also hurts in the sense of everybody thinks they're either a musician or whatever it is that they want to be. Because of technology, they think they can be that right now. Right. Without the legwork.
Everyone's an artist now. Yeah, everyone is rapping and producing and DJing. So with this new, I don't want to say new, but with this wave of New York rappers, New Jersey rappers, MCs, you have Fred the Godson, Jacquay, Casanova, Young M.A. Yeah. Is New York back? Do you feel like New York is back?
I never thought that. When I say this, I'll explain what I'm saying. I never thought New York was gone, in the sense of everything has its time. It's evolution. Yeah. New York ain't gonna hold the rap crown forever, or people are gonna pay attention to New York forever. It's like what I said before. It's like eating chicken every day. People don't want that.
You get tired of it.
It's like Southern music was the shit. Now it's kind of starting to, at least in New York, it's starting to fade out a little bit and transition back to what we know in like the mid 90s. You know what I'm saying? And it's just progression, man, because this is going to fade too. I don't know how long this has. Right. You know what I'm saying? But it will fade. That's one thing I know for a fact. It's going to move to another state.
You have to ride that wave as long as
you just got to, while it's here, take advantage of it.
Sidebar, have you been keeping up with the whole Nicki and Remy beef? Do you have any thoughts on it? Anything you want to add or share?
No, I think it was good for music. And I think Remy as a female artist, when there's not too many slots for female artists, she almost lived by the code, like kill or be killed.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And you can't blame her for that. It's like, if she know that Nicki's the #1 rapper in the game, she's supposed to just sit back and accept that. And I don't mean it in violence or really any type of harm. I just mean lyrical and musical competition. She's supposed to do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and Nicki responding, she's supposed to do that too. That's what they're supposed to do. Now it's just up to the fans to pick who they think came out victorious.
What do you consider a hot song? What's a hot song to you? When you hear something, what kind of elements do you look for?
It's different levels, man.
Is it
like,
the feel?
It's different levels. Sometimes a hot song could make you wanna move. Another hot song could just make you wanna sit down and think. Another hot song could make you just want to get in the car and ride out to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's different levels of it, or it's different styles of it. But a hot song to me is anything that gives you a feeling that you didn't have previous to listening to it. You know what I'm saying? And that comes in all shapes and forms. You don't got to be in the club to hear a hot song. It's like, if I hear a record and that shit changes my mood or puts me in a mind frame I wasn't in before I started listening to it, I know it's a good record.
Okay. Which artists today do you feel are making a mark, leaving their stamp in the industry, in the culture?
I mean, obviously, I'm gonna say I fuck with Fred, but I that's my homeboy for years. Jacquees moving. Casanova, we just did a song on Casanova's project. Casanova's, I think personally, I think Casanova's gonna be out of here. I think he's what, when you talk about New York, like hip hop and shit like that, that's what it needed. Like, it needed a shot in the arm, and he's a shot in the arm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's dope.
I've been keeping up with him.
I think he's dope, and he's a cool dude. You know what I'm saying?
What would you say is one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to music? I mean, you touched upon it a little while ago about,
as far as like the person that's not in the music industry that just looks from the outside looking in.
With regards to like the producer, or even like you said, everybody thinks they can produce. Everybody thinks that I think
people don't truly understand how you make money out of it. Everybody wants to be a producer and a rapper, but they don't understand how you even make a dime. They see shit on the internet with rappers counting money and putting on 3 or 4 chains and doing this, that, and the third, and they think like if I rap and I make a hot song, automatically all that shit is gonna come. I mean, yes, it will come, but it could be snatched away just as fast if you don't understand what the fuck is going on. Right. And I think the biggest misconception is how artists get money. You know what I mean? Because
it's a business. Again,
from the outside looking in, you would think every rapper is living in a big crib and driving crazy, like, you know what I mean? And which is the total opposite.
Of course. Do you look for artists? Do artists come to you?
No, I don't necessarily look for artists. I'll meet artists in different ways, and you know what I'm saying? But I don't have a bunch of artists that I fuck with. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I have a bunch of artists that I know, but as far as like that are personally with Heatmakerz, it's not too many. You know what I'm saying? It's just a select few. Like, I want to make sure that they get situations where it's not like I have a whole roster and I can't tend to everybody.
So when I think of the Heatmakerz, I think of beat makers, producers, longevity. I think of exclusivity, because I notice that you don't work with everybody. You're picky.
I wouldn't even say I'm picky. I would just say I just believe time is the most important thing that we have, man. Because you can get anything back. I'd rather lose money than time. Because when you lose time, it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, suppose somebody told you the day you were gonna die. You would treat your life a whole lot different. Totally different. You understand? So it's like, I want to work with people that really want to do something. You don't have to be the best. You just have to have that drive and really want to do something. Right. And a lot of people don't have that inside of them. A lot of people just want to rap for those reasons that we spoke about, or they want to sing for those reasons that we spoke about. They don't really want to do it because they want to leave a mark and leave a legacy behind. They want to do it because it's the end thing to do now, and it's quick and it's easy, and I could buy a laptop and be a producer tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So
if they have the hunger and the drive that you possess, then you see the talent in them, then you would work with an artist.
If it makes sense. If it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, definitely if it makes sense.
Can you share a monumental day, something big that you'll take with you forever that happened to you, whether it's meeting an artist or in the studio with someone? I mean, you said Beyonce. That's pretty big.
I'll tell you the day, because this is the only day that I turned into a fan ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I like artists, but I'm never you know what I mean? I don't see them and turn into, I'm in Sony Studios recording with, I think I was working on K Slay's album at the time. And I had to go to the bathroom, so I leave to go out into the bathroom in the hallway, and the fucking lights shut off in the hallway. So I don't know, I thought like a fucking power went out or some shit.
Right.
And I see flashlights coming around the corner. And I'm looking through the flashlights and I'm like, what the fuck? It's fucking Michael Jackson walking. They walking Michael Jackson through Sony. And I'm like, you gotta remember, when I'm growing up, I'm watching chicks pass out to Michael Jackson. So it's a different type of, it's like Michael Jackson wasn't real to me.
Right.
Like I seen him on certain shit, but I never thought
you're gonna see him in person.
Right. So that was to me, that was just like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
And I know it wasn't even nothing like we was working on music together, which might sound corny, but it's just like, he was an icon to me. Like what I think about when I think about musical icons, I think about Michael Jackson. So seeing him was just like, all right, cool.
And he just walked by you?
Nah, he said, I said what's up, and he waved back and just kept it moving though. Because he had a whole side of Sony locked off.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fine.
What was it like working with Beyonce?
Well, the way I work with Beyonce, I wasn't in the studio with Beyonce. I did a record that Solange had wrote, and the record was for somebody else originally. And the person who the record was for was like, I can't sing it like, because Beyonce referenced the record for Solange. So the singer was like, I can't sing it like this. Like, she sang it too crazy. Mm-hmm. So Beyonce decided to keep the record. But the record ended up getting leaked. And they just put it on like an overseas, like special edition album type of thing.
Damn, how do records get leaked?
That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother
story in itself, man. I have my reasons on why I think it got leaked. So.
Damn, I mean, it's Beyonce, you know.
Of course.
You know, when some people could look at you and say, he's successful. Mm-hmm. You have a studio, you work with all these big artists. What does success look like to you? What does it feel like to you?
Well, success to me has nothing to do with money or possessions. You know what I'm saying? To me, at this point, when I was younger, it did. I'm not gonna lie, like, I never thought, like, of course, when I was younger, having money and jewelry and whatever it was that I had, you know what I'm saying, that was success to me. Like, knowing that I made 3 times as much as people that worked every day, all day, and I was doing shit that I love to do, that was my definition of success.
Right.
But as you get older and you kind of realize that you're really chasing a destination that you don't even know what's waiting for you when you get there. You understand what I'm saying? It's like everybody wants to be this. But what happens when you become this? Nobody thinks about that. Right. It's kind of like these are the best times. Like the chase of that is the best time. Because when you get there, you don't know what's waiting for you on the other side.
So you get all the money, you get the bag.
Right. Then what?
Then what?
Like, let's think about it. And I don't want to but let's just say you get everything you want and then you're doing all this for your family and your mother or your father gets sick. Is it worth it that you missed all that time trying to get there for the money and this and that? And you understand? So I look at shit different now. Success to me is just knowing that my friends and family are healthy and happy, and I got enough money to support myself and my kids. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Wow, you're dropping jewels right now.
No, but I mean,
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, we all want to get there, but what is there? Where is there?
Yeah, what is that? Like, what are you really trying to get? What are you chasing?
So I asked you this before. Any artists that you want to work with, who is on your list?
I want to do some stuff for some of the greats, man. Like, you know, J's, the Eminems, 50s, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Because I think, I know I got music for them. I just think it's time that we do some music together.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give a young artist or a young producer coming up? What can you say? I mean, you said a lot today.
I've never known what to say for this question because it's just like, I mean, I've been asked this question before, but it's like.
Well, let me ask you this. What would you say to a younger self, your younger self, younger arsonist? What would you say?
Just keep doing what you're doing, but just believe in what you're doing. Because there was times that I was doing what I was doing and people talked me out of it like, yo, your music sounds too dark. It doesn't sound like, people can't play this in the club and this. But I didn't know how to make shit else because I was angry in my. That's how I felt. The music that I make was a direct reflection of how I felt at the time. So I wasn't gonna try to make party shit with $2 in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel right. So it worked out. Diplomatic Immunities, that is the music they call dark. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But you made music for somebody at that time, right?
No,
I mean, people were.
Of course. No, but what I'm saying is, before I even sold the record to Dipset, that's what people were telling me. And when Dipset put out the Diplomatic Immunity and people were going crazy over Dipset, and that was all the music they was telling me was too dark, and it was this, and it was that, and, you know.
And it worked out.
Right, so then you got to listen to yourself.
So earlier you said you don't make music for artists. Mm-mm. You just make music.
Just make music. You know what I mean? Like, an artist's not going to make a rap for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's gonna make whatever's on his mind. So at the end of the day, the vibe just has to meet up somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like somewhere, how I felt that day, I could put him in that mood, and he makes a record to that, or however it is. Maybe I got something previously, and he's feeling this way, and the vibes match up, and he or she does that. So.
What does the finish line look like for you? I mean, we just spoke about what's there. What is it? Where is it? What does it feel like? But for you, in your mind, when you're driving, when you're home, and you're just kind of chilling, what does it look like for you? Like, what is it that will fulfill you?
Honestly, I feel like being able to do what I want when I want. You understand? Like being able to work with who I want to work with when I want to work with. Because back to what you're saying about success, another way to look at success, I've told people before, is to shorten the degrees of separation, right? Because like true success is when there's nothing separating you from whoever you want to speak to in your field. Right. That's true success. If you got to go through 2 or 3 people to get to somebody, it shows you how far off success you are.
Right.
Because a truly successful person can pick up the phone and say, yo, get me Obama on the phone. And they're going to get Obama on the phone.
Right.
If that's their line of work and that's their field. If it's a musician, he can get Jay-Z on the phone in one call. It shows how far he's gotten in his career. Or get Diddy on the phone. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, another way I judge success is by the degrees of separation. If I can shorten the degrees of separation, I've reached success in my field. You know what I'm saying?
It's so crazy because when I just came in here, I'm like, I spoke to this person who spoke to this person who's going to get me Fat Joe.
Right. But
so
see,
there's the degree.
No, but see, here's what I'm saying. Like, if I tell you, let's just say I tell you, okay, I know Fat Joe, I could call Fat Joe, and you want to get to him. Now you got 1 degree of separation. Right. So that means, you understand, like, right. Like, I mean, in that sense.
True, though, it's true.
So the more people you can do that with, the more you know you're closer to your success.
To success.
All right.
So my final question to you is, when it's all said and done, what's the legacy? What is the legacy that you want to leave to your fans, to other artists, your colleagues? What's the legacy of Rsonist?
I don't know if it's that's always been, like, people ask me something similar, not that question, but you know, about legacy. I have a hard time even speaking about that, because to me it's almost like I attach the word legacy to other people, like, you know, like in the production field, like Premier, like Pete Rock, like Dr. Dre, you know, Timbaland, Pharrell.
You're like,
yeah, but I don't.
Right
it's
there.
It's me. So it's hard for me to, you know. And then, so honestly, I just want people to be able to listen to my music, whether it's 20 years from now, 30 years from now, and feel exactly what I was feeling when I made that music. Because however you feel, that's how I was feeling. If you listen to a lot of the Dipset shit, however that makes you feel, that's how I was feeling when I made that. However you act when you listening to that,
right.
That's a part of me was acting like that when I made that. You know what I'm saying? So I want people to feel that on anything that I make. So I don't really care about legacy per se, but I want them to understand that anything I put my hands on is going to move them in a different way. You know
how do you feel? Sorry, I said it was the last question, but how do you feel when you hear the end product? How does that make you feel when you created something one night, one morning when you were here, and now it all came together? How does that make you feel?
It's beautiful. Like, you want to do that to every record you have. As a producer, you want every record you have to be out and people to hear. I don't want to keep records in the computer that people never heard before. Right. That's not, what fun is that?
It's like building a car, but you never sell it.
Right. It's like buying a house and you have the best house ever and you never invite friends over.
It's like making a peanut butter. No, I'm just kidding. I was going to keep going. No, it's so true. It's like you want to share
with people.
It's a complete
like, in relationship to a guy, it's like having a bad girlfriend and you never take out the house. Right. What's the sense?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You got mad analogies.
Yeah, but that's what it is, man. Like, I want people to hear my music. I don't make it just for me to hear it. I want other people to hear it.
Man, where can people find you?
Instagram is the best place, man. Like, I got Facebook and all that, but my Facebook is more like, you know,
family and friends.
Yeah. But on Instagram it's official Heatmakerz with a Z.
Where'd the name come from?
Well, Heatmakerz?
Yeah.
Originally I was managed by this dude that he wanted to start a group of producers called the Heatmakerz. And the first deal we did, he got me for like $5,000. So when I got right, the first thing I did is I snatched the name and incorporated. Yeah.
Here you go. Here, Heatmakerz.
Yeah, here we go.
And Diamond District Studios is because we're in the Diamond District?
Diamond District Studios because when a record sells 10 million, it goes diamond instead of platinum. So we're trying to make the district where that happens.
I like that.
You know,
it's a mindset.
Yeah,
you're not gonna be gold. Studios.
Shoot for the stars, man. Shoot for the stars.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us.
Thank you.
Shout out to these guys right here, Foundation Films, Foundation Digital Films, and we're gonna be back.
I'm here.
Just so you know, right, guys? We'll be back
anytime, man.